All right, today we're going to be working on factoring polynomials by grouping. Now, with the grouping, there's going to be 4 terms. And there's no GCF between all 4 terms. Nothing factors out of all of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the first 2 and the second 2. Then we're going to check to make sure the parentheses are the same. And then we're going to do our parentheses the inside and the outside for our answer. So let me show you what I mean. Here's an example. So notice here we have 4 different terms. And if we look at all these terms, like there's things shared between the first 2, but not all the way through. Like this one has a 2 and this one has a 7. Those 2 aren't alike. And these have x's and these don't. And these have y's and these are both negative. And there's things that work, but not for all 4. So I can't do all 4 at the same time. So I have to do 2 at a time. So I'm going to take the first 2 here. So the 7xy and the 2xy and the 7x, and then the negative 2y and the negative 7. Well, 2xy is 2 times x times y. So we're going to do the first 2 and the second 2. This second 2, negative 2, is a negative 1 times 2 times y. Anytime we have a negative, a minus, you just write a negative 1 in front, and then just do the 2 and the y. And then the second 2 are 7 and x, so 7 and x. And then negative 7 would be negative 1 and 7. All right, so we're looking for what's in common. So in the first 2 here, we have an x in common. So we're going to pull an x out, and we're going to write this just like what we did yesterday in terms of the distributing. And then over here, we're going to pull a negative 1 out and write what we have. So here we pulled that x out, and we're left with 2y and plus 7. Here we take the negative 1 out, and we're left with 2y and plus 7. So the question is, are the parentheses the same? These 2 greens. Yes, they are. So we can go ahead and continue on. If they're not, then we probably did something wrong, or we have to do some manipulation in order to get them where we need them to be. Then we go ahead and put them together. The outsides, this x and this negative 1, go together. And then the inside, the 2y, the green ones here, go over here. So I color-coded them so you can kind of see where they're from. So the stuff outside the parentheses goes in one, and the stuff that are inside goes in the other, and this is considered my answer. Now I could write it opposite. I could write it as 2y plus 7 and then x minus 1, and that's fine. That is acceptable. All right, but that's how we do a grouping. Again, the grouping occurs when there's 4 terms. So whenever you see the 4 terms like that, you want to make it a grouping. So let's do another one. Again, 4 terms. So let's take a look at the first one, 4xy. Well, actually, I should have broke down the 4 here. It should be 2 times 2 times x times y. 3y is just 3y. Then negative 20, you got to birthday cake it, is negative 1. Again, anytime there's a negative, we just put a negative 1 there. And 2 times 2 times 5 times x. 15 is just 3 and 5, so negative 1, 3, and 5. So what's in common over here? Just the y, so the y comes out, and I'm left with 4x plus 3. Then over here, a 5 is in common and the negative 1, so it's negative 5. 2 times 2 times x is 4x, and then just the 3. Are they the same? Yes, they are. So then I write my answer, which corresponds to C. Keep doing this, trying a few more. Every once in a while, we'll get one that needs a little manipulation. I'll show you how to do that here. So we have the 15a. We're going to do first 2, second 2. Excuse me, sorry. So the 15a is 5 times 3 times a. And the 4b is 2 times 2 times b. The negative 3ab is negative 1 times 3 times a times b. And 20 is negative 1 times 2 times 2 times 5. We did 20 before here just a few minutes ago. So I'm looking for what's in common. So 3 and a are in common here. That's left with 5 and a minus b. And over here we have 2 and 2 left with b minus 5. Are these the same? No, they're not. They're very close. They're opposites, right? It's 5 minus b, and this is b minus 5. Well, what do we do when we have something like that? Normally, if it's way wrong, then we did something wrong. And we got to go back and look to see if we didn't factor something out, go back and do these things again. We might have done something wrong. But if it's like this one, there's a little trick that we do. So what we do is we add 2 negative 1s. So look at this part over here. I'm going over here where this one's backwards, right? We'd rather have it be b minus 5. It's 5 minus b instead. So I'm going to write these two negative 1s here. And really, if you notice, when I multiply by negative 1, if I multiply this all out, I'm still going to get that 15a. By putting two negative 1s there, they kind of cancel each other out. And then I have that still, that negative 1, 3, a, and b. Now when I look for what's in common, it's negative 1 and 3 and a. So I get negative 3a, and then it's negative 5 plus b. Well, negative 5 plus b I can just rewrite as b minus 5. And now they're exactly the same, and now I can go ahead and write my answer. So when they're opposite like that, we have to go back and add two negative 1s. That's the little trick that we have to do. But that's only when they're opposite. If this was like 10 minus 2, then I have to go back and try something else. Okay, but because they were opposite like this, you add the two negative 1s to go ahead and flip it. All right, one more. Negative 2xy is negative 1 times 2 times x times y. Negative 10 is negative 1 times 2 times 5 times x. X's are in common, 2's in common, negative 1's in common. Left with y plus 5. The second group, 3y, is just 3 and y. 15 is 3 and 5. Take a 3 out, it's y plus 5. Those are the same, they go together. What's not, negative 2x, and the 3 goes on front, which is right here for b. Oh, I lied, there's one more, sorry. 3r squared s is 3rrs, and 6 is 2 times 3 times r times s. So sometimes we have more things that are come out in front, okay. 3r and s, leaving me r plus 2. Over here we have the negatives, so we get negative 7 and r plus 2, again the same. So 3rs minus 7 and r plus 2. That's what I have for you today.